Okay, so now I just want to cover some stuff about password generation and creating login entries in your Bitwarden database. So here I'm on a site called Reddit, reddit.com. I'm going to go ahead and sign up and create a new account on this site. So let's do... I'm going to use my Proton Mail email address, say next. I don't need any of these. I'm going to create a username. So let's try Bobo Buffington. Hey, it's available. And let me just clear this one out. Motorcycles. That's probably it. Okay, now I've got to set a password. So I'm going to go over here to, I got to unlock Bitwarden. I'm going to go over here and just show you in my, whoops, show spot. I'll do that over again. Okay, in my Bitwarden pull down, I've got this tab down at the bottom, and these tabs let you go through different things like your settings for Bitwarden. You shouldn't need to do that much. Send is a way that you can do send files. Again, you don't need to worry about that. Vault is a place for storing protected files. Let's just focus on the password functionality. The generator. Okay, so here you'll see at the top here it's giving me a secure password based on the criteria that I have down here. So down here I want a password type of password, and I'll show you what the difference is between password and passphrase, that has a length of 12 characters, that includes uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters, because those are all checked. If I uncheck any of these, if I uncheck the special characters, see that %? It's going to disappear. It's actually just going to regenerate a new password based on these new rules. I could turn it to all uppercase letters if I needed to. I could change the length if I needed to. We'll just keep it at 15. That's fine. And I'm going to include all these. So those are my generator settings, and I could press this and it'll copy the password, and now that is on my clipboard. That's one way I can use the generator. It saves whatever settings you have. It saves them between instantiation, between running this program. It'll save whatever your last saved set of parameters for. In other words, if I close this, it's still going to be, whenever I do a password generation, it's going to be a length of 15 with a mixture of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. I can also change this to passphrase if I want to. And passphrase, you'll see it does 3 random words. I can change the number of words. I can change it to 4 random words. I can change it to 5 random words. I'm just going to keep it at 3. And then I can choose the separator. In this case, I've got a dash. I could get rid of it, which just makes it a space by default. I'm going to keep the dash. I can capitalize it so that it capitalizes each letter, and I can also make it so it appends a number to the end of the password, so it appended a 0 there. The reason you might want to use passphrases sometimes, and you don't have to, but some of the nice things about passphrases is they're easier to remember. So if you want a password that you want to be able to remember, passphrases are good. They're also good if you're like reading your password off of one thing and typing it into another. Like if you have to manually type it instead of being able to copy and paste, it might be easier to remember tibia negation snowy. Okay, tibia negation snowy, as opposed to something like this. You're going to have to constantly keep looking back and forth to be able to type that. So it's a matter of preference. I generally, the amount of security is roughly the same. In other words, like having a, depending on how you set it, but like having a password of about length 15 with upper lowercase numbers and special characters like this one is right now, has roughly about the same amount of randomness in it. We call it entropy. has the same amount of entropy as a three random words separated by a separator character. So you're not making a compromise in security by going from one to the other. It's more of a matter of preference. So so there you go. I generally, for my generation, I just do passwords, and that's because sometimes there's a length limitation on password fields, and passphrases tend to overrun those pretty quickly because there'll be a lot of characters that crop up real quickly. And so I just stick with this. But I've used passphrases before. If I went through my password database and audited it, I'm sure I'd find a few that were passphrases that I did at different times. I don't remember passwords anymore. I just rely on my password database, so I can't think of any offhand, but I'm sure they're in there somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that, and those settings are all saved for how it's going to generate passwords. So let me go back to the sign up here. I'm going to do that. protonmail.com, Bobo Buffington, and I have to say I'm not a robot again. Look for palm trees. How a robot could find palm trees. So now one way that I can get the passphrase is by doing this pull down, going to the generator, and copying that to the clipboard and then pasting that in. Another way, though, is I can just go to this field and I can right click. So right click the mouse on it, and you'll see, because I've got the Bitwarden plugin, this extension installed in my browser, when I get this right click and I get what's called a context menu. It's called that because what comes up in a context menu depends on the context in which you clicked it. In this case, I clicked it in the context of I clicked it in the context of this password text field in the web browser. That doesn't matter, but it'll bring up this. Oh, my verification expired again. Okay. Mountains or hills? Mountains. I better do this quick. Verified. Okay. It'll bring up this Bitwarden thing, and now I can say generate password, and it says copied, because what happens if I click that is it generates a password according to those properties I gave the password before, and it's copied it to my clipboard. So now if I paste this, it's going to set the password, and it tells me, hey, your password is strong, so that's a good password. It does a check to see what the relative strength of your password is. I'm going to go ahead and do submit. It's making me do I'm not a robot again. Oh, maybe not. Current email address is okay. I got it. I don't need to do that right now. Okay, got it. I'm going to log out. And I'm going to log in again because it does not currently have this one saved. I haven't saved this entry. Bobo Buffington. And I've still got that password saved to my clipboard. So I just paste it in there. Now, when I log in, watch what happens here. It logs me in, so it shows that I'm logged in as this user, Bobo Buffington. So that's fine. What it does is, and it doesn't do this all the time, but it does this on most sites when you create a new account. It'll say, should Bitwarden remember this password for you? And I'll say, yes, save. And now it's saved that password. And I don't know if you'll notice this or not, but I've actually got 3 different accounts for Reddit. And so that's why it's showing up with this number 3 here. But if I log out now, go to here, and I'll see there's 3 different accounts for Reddit here. And if I hit Control-Shift-L, it's going to rotate through those until I get to that one that I want. And if I log in, I'm logged into Reddit now with that new account that we created. So I was able to just automatically get that account added by saying yes when it asked me if I wanted to save it. Another way you can do that, though, is you can always open up your vault here and manually enter one by saying plus, hitting that plus sign in the upper right. And that's saying we're adding an item. I want to add a login. By default, it's going to grab whatever the domain that you're currently on is there and populate it into the name field and into this URI field here. And then I can manually enter whatever I want. I'm not going to enter it here because I've already got it saved, but I can enter the username and the password, and I might want to change this to say Reddit, Bobo's Reddit account, because that's just a name to identify it for me. This URI one is the URL that it's currently on, and that's what is key to adding for Bitwarden's search capability. That's what makes it know that when I'm on this site with this reddit.com domain, it knows that it has a matching entry and that it will auto-populate with. That's why that number 3 is there, because I've got those 3 different accounts, including the one, Bobo Buffington, that we just created. All right, so we covered in this how the password generator works, how you can generate secure passwords and secure passphrases, and sort of what the difference is between those. If you just never bother with passphrases at all and just use passwords, that's totally fine. And then how to automatically add entries to your Bitwarden database when it prompts you by just pressing that save button, and then also how to manually add them by pressing that plus button and entering in the fields manually. Okay, that's it.